All right, I didn't get a chance to take a look at this yesterday whenever they dropped it because I had to get ready to go into work. So I'm going to just take a look at it now and go over these balance patches because I was really interested during that dev vision. So let's go ahead and jump into this. We got the 2026 515 balance post. The ground is shaking, rivals. Season 8 is here, and the king of the monster kingdom has officially stomped onto the battlefield. While Devil Dinosaur is busy tearing up the front line, our balance team has been hard at work tuning up the rest of the roster. Emma Frost is getting a royal boost to her diamond hard defenses, Mr. Fantastic is stretching out his damage potential, and Mantis is bringing a whole new pace to the game. Let's dig into the patch notes and see how the meta evolves. So we'll start with the Vanguards. First, we have Deadpool. Wade's been breaking the game engine a little too hard with his non-stop gunplay. We're putting a tiny leash on his damage output while keeping his chaotic energy intact. Reduce the band hammer, that's the gun form alt, healing provided while active from 50 per second to 25 per second. Wow, that's a big drop off. Holy cow. And then also reducing dual desert eagles. Vanguard single shot damage from 36 to 34 for the standard, and then when it's upgraded 42 to 39. So I mean, I think this is all right. I don't mind this one. You know, like Deadpool does do a lot of damage, so I mean, I think slowly changing these numbers is going to be helpful. You know, instead of them doing a big drop off for his damage, and then this one I find really interesting because this is a lot of reduction from 50 to 25. Like that's actually a pretty good chunk. But I kind of see why it makes sense because whenever Deadpool would be, you know, using his ult and he would just kind of be just like, you know, it felt like he would just never die unless you had like 3 people looking at him and he, you know, maybe it was like thing slammed so he couldn't get out. Plus, you know, like having 2 of your duelists looking at him or something. Like felt like it was really hard to kill a Deadpool and he would just kind of run your team over. So I kind of see the route they're going with this. I just hope they don't go too far with Deadpool because I really do enjoy the character. Next we have Emma Frost. The White Queen is getting an upgrade to her diamond hard survivability to give her a stronger prolonged presence on the front line. So telepathic pulse fall off now begins 4 seconds and it was 3 seconds after not hitting an enemy. Reduce Mind's Aegis reposition cooldown from 3 seconds to 1 second and increase the damage reduction gained during diamond form and psionic seduction, which is her ult, from 20 to 25%. So essentially all this is doing is kind of just giving Emma more survivability, honestly, just getting more damage reduction in her ult and her diamond form, and she can just replace her shield more frequently. And then her primary fire left click is just, instead of being 1, 2, 3, and then your meter starts falling, now it's just going to be 4 seconds. So trying to make Emma feel better than, you know, she does currently, but not make her like she was in like season 2 and season 3. So I can see where they're going with this. We'll have to see how that one shakes up. Next, we have the Thing. We're giving Ben's rocky exterior a buff so he can soak up more pressure during prolonged frontline brawls. Increase base health from 700 to 750. Okay, I mean, and you also got to figure he's also been getting overshield, so that's just an extra 50 damage to kind of squeeze through, which I think might be good for the Thing, but I'm assuming they didn't want to go too hard with that buff because he got, my opinion, it kind of felt like he just fell off. I mean, as somebody that loves Thing and that has I think he might be my most played character. I just 700 to 750 doesn't feel like a lot, but maybe this is just going to be enough to where he can kind of feel viable again. Because I felt like unless you were running into a heavy dive team or something, there were just better options to choose from. That one will be interesting. Next, we have Iron Fist. For the duelists, we have the Lin Lei is sharpening his martial arts. We're boosting his burst potential and smoothing his combos so he can be a greater threat when diving enemy lines. Jeet Kune Do hits now reduce the cooldown of Dragon's defense by 1.2 seconds, up from 1 second. So I think it was like 1.3, like in like season 3 or 4 or something. Like I think that it was different before. So I think they're kind of just reverting that just because Iron Fist just, I don't know, for like, and then you're only getting that 1 second per hit, just never felt really good. So the 1.2 might be a little bit better, but they don't want to go too hard with it. You know, like a 1.5 or like a 1.4 or something. And then also increasing the Kunlun's kick's first strike damage from 35 to 40. So just giving him a little bit extra, like I said, a little bit more burst potential, you know, 5 more damage. But overall, I mean, I think I do like this for Iron Fist because he was actually a character that I said I wanted to like kind of pick up a couple days ago. So I think that this will give me a reason to actually want to try him. Next we have Mr. Fantastic. Reed's crowd control was getting a bit too oppressive, so we're trading off some of his slow effects for a boost in direct damage and overall utility. Increased stretch punch damage from 65 to 70, and they're removing flexible elongation's movement speed reduction effect. However, the charge time for each use has been reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, and they're reducing the energy cost of Brainiac Bouts, the alt, from 3,400 to 3,100. Okay, so he's just getting more damage with his left click, his primary, and then whenever he does the fridge form, there's not going to be the movement speed reduction, how he kind of like, so now he'll just be able to just kind of walk and do his thing. But the charge time for each use is getting reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds as well. Okay, so more survivability with that. Alt's going to come quicker. He's going to be doing more damage. I kind of wish I would have liked to see them do something else with the alt, though. I mean, I don't think Mr. Fantastic's problem was getting alt. I think it's just his alt's dog shit, man. It just boing, 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 boing. Like there's just so many ways to counter it. You can just kill him. Like, I don't know. Fantastic, I think, is in a weird place because like he just doesn't do anything. Unless you're like one of those really insane Mr. Fantastic players. So I don't know. We'll have to see how this one shakes up as well. Next, we have Moon Knight. Conchita Man's Swift Vengeance. We're giving him a small mobility tune-up. Reduce Moonlight hook cooldown from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. So that's like his F where he like grapples and gets out. I don't see a problem with that because I mean if a Moon Knight's, you know, using that all like constantly like that, then he's leaving himself no escape. So the 12 second doesn't really, it's whatever. I wish they would just take the damn booping away from the onks. I hate that. I still don't understand why that's a mechanic. Why does it pull me in and then he just right click me and delete me if I'm a squishy? Like I think that's stupid, but I digress. Next we have Phoenix. Jean is shifting her focus. We're cutting her explosive AoE slightly to make her direct hits feel far more lethal. Increase cosmic flares direct hit damage from 50 to 55. Reduce explosion damage when detonating spark marks from 40 to 35. And then we got a little note. Without damage buffs, Phoenix can no longer one-shot a 250 health hero with a single mark, plus direct hit from her End Song Inferno, which is her alt. However, the increase to her primary attack damage makes her far more threatening in baseline combat. Okay. So she's getting, like it says, getting more damage from her primary, but then whenever all, like, if so, you know, say you have the 3 marks and then it pops, instead of it doing 40, it's just gonna do 35, which, like it says, is not, you're not gonna be able to one-shot the squishies now. So that I think is a good step in the right direction with Phoenix, because she has consistently felt strong every single season. It's not like any, like, you know, you're getting a Phoenix and it's like, okay, you got a Phoenix, okay, the big damage, possibly just getting blown up. So I mean, I could definitely rock with this. I'm very excited to see how that shakes up. Spider-Man is Spider-Man is wrapping things up tighter than ever. We're giving his ultimate a bit more bite. Increase spectacular spin per single spherical spell field from 13. Try to say that 10 times fast. From spell field from 13.6 to 15. Total damage over the 2.4 second duration will be 408 to 450. Okay. So not really anything too crazy for Spidey. I mean, like, I feel like his ult was already kind of good. Like, you know, you say you get your web onto a squishy, pop in with your E, right, uppercut, and pop your ult. Like, they were pretty much dead no matter what, unless they popped an ult or something. So I don't see that too big of a change. Like, it's an extra 50 or 42 damage, like, whatever. But still interesting. Nice to see that Spider-Man's still getting some love. Next, we have Squirrel Girl. Doreen's now slightly faster. That's nutty. Well played, Guang Guang. Well played. All right, so reducing the cooldown of Mammal Bond from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. Okay, so kind of same thing as Moon Knight, just like a little bit more movement now. We'll just have her cooldown quicker instead of it just being on a super long, you know, cooldown. It'll be 3 seconds shorter. So, whatever. Not really that big of a deal. Star-Lord, time to turn up the tunes and the ammo count. Increase the ammo capacity of element guns from 40 to 50. You know, this might be a hot take, but I actually really like that change because I feel like Star-Lord just runs out of ammo like way too fast. Like, you know, you're like, and then it was over, and then it was over, you know, and so like, That extra 10 damage or 10 bullets might not seem like a lot, but like I'm here for that. As like Star-Lord being one of my main DPSs that I play, I really do like that. All right, next we got Wolverine. Logan's healing factor is kicking into overdrive. He'll be able to bounce back into the fray faster, reduce the triggering effect of regenerative healing factor from 105 seconds to 90 seconds. What? I don't think this is necessary, Guang Guang. So if I'm understanding this correctly, that's his passive. Oh my lord, I'm just bewildered right now. So he's gonna be getting his passive, what, 15 seconds quicker now. Oh man, that's gonna be rough for us tank players. Okay. Whew. All right, on to the strategists. Oh wow, got a big list for the strats. All right, so first we'll start with Invis. Sui is losing a bit of her knockback and damage to help balance the overall control potential of strategist comps, reduce force physics, push distance from 12 meters and 10 meters, and damage from 55 to 50. So nothing too crazy, just taking her E and just making it have a little less range and not as much damage. I actually kind of like that. I think that, you know, Invis is still really strong, but that E is sometimes just a little too annoying, but nothing crazy. I like it. Next we have Loki. The God of Mischief is leaning more into his support role. His illusions will heal more reliably, but deal a little less damage. The increase illusions mystical missile healing ratio from 90% to 100%, reduce illusion mystical missile damage ratio from 90% to 80%, and increase the energy cost of God of Mischief, his ult, from 4,300 to 4,500. Huh. I like this. I like this. The first part, going to be doing more healing from his clones. They're going to get 100% of the healing. So if you have 2 clones down, you'll be getting 3, you know, like 3 clones at 100% healing. And then he's going to just do a little bit less damage. So he's not going to be as lethal in deleting people. So, I mean, I guess in a sense, this doesn't really matter because he's getting his ult quicker since he's going to be doing 10% more. So they just gave it a little bit more ult charge. So it's like, like whatever in that regard. But it's just, that's an interesting direction for Loki, just taking away some of his damage and giving him more healing, which I don't really agree with. I don't feel like strategists should just be heal bots, but maybe maybe a Loki player can let me know how they feel about this in the comments, because I'm not too big on this. I think this was an unnecessary change. Next we have Mantis. Mantis is getting a tactical shift. She's trading some of her damage boosting power for a brand new baseline speed buff. Reduce allied inspiration damage boost provided to allies from 12% to 8%. New effect now provides a flat 100 movement speed boost to allies. Dev note: with Ultron now having access to conventional damage buff capabilities, Mantis needs to carve out a more unique functional niche by adding a movement speed buff. Mantis can better aid her team with positioning and kiting. I get what they're going for. I think that's gonna take away from kind of what Mantis was. Like, you know, she was that support that would help your team boost damage. You know, like if you remember that one season, whenever they like did the crazy Venom changes where his ult did more damage and like he got more healing and stuff from it. Like you pop that Mantis like leaf on the Venom before he dives in, pops his right click, and then uses his ult. It would one shot everybody because of the Mantis team up. So or not team up, but the leaf. So it allowed you to be a little more aggressive with stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what this movement speed boost is going to really bring to the game, because I don't know. I just don't see it being that crazy. All right, next we have Rocket Raccoon. Rocket is upgrading his arsenal. He'll be putting out more damage, tossing out more heals, and dropping his ultimate faster. So increasing bombard mode hit damage per projectile from 16 to 17. Increase repair mode charges from 8 to 10. And then reduce the energy cost of Sia ultimate ability from 4,300 to 4,000. So he's going to be getting his ult quicker. He's going to have more bubbles to shoot. And then hit damage per projectile from 16 to 17. I mean, that's such a small change. I don't even understand what the point of that is. But I mean, I guess he's going to be just doing slightly more damage, you know, doing more heals, and then he'll getting his ult faster. So Rocket might be a good support for people that don't really like, you know, that are off-rolling and stuff. You know, he just seems like this make him a little bit more viable. And especially with a lot of Phoenixes running around, you know, him getting his ult more might actually be helpful. Maybe he can, you know, beat that Phoenix a little bit more with his ult, with it having that decreased cost. Next, we have White Fox. Amihan is refining her Kumiho magic to provide more consistent healing, whether she's locked in combat or disengaged. Increase healing amount provided by the surrounding aura during Fox Awakening form, 25 to 35. Reduce the burst healing generated by each successful attack during White Fox's Awakening from 35 to 25. Dev note: we observed that White Fox's healing output in the Fox Awakening state was too high when continuously attacking enemies, but too low when unable to maintain targets. The slightly lowers her intense burst healing when spamming attacks from 100 per second to 90 per second, but significantly boosts her passive healing aura when no targets are available from 25 to 35. And then their increased Blessed by the Night healing to allies during Kumiho Unleashed ultimate ability from 40 to 60. Okay, so these are really just, like it says, refining her alt. Just making the healing a little bit better, because if there's enemies in it, you're left clicking, that it disperses that healing, and then you can also right click to do that healing. So it's just kind of essentially just making that healing feel a little bit more viable. If there's not people around, you can still survive on it and stuff. Interesting change to Fox. I don't really have any quarrels with it. This is another one I'm gonna have to see how it shakes up, but so far I'm all right with a lot of these. I mean, the only ones that like I said, I disagree with is like the Loki one. It just feels like a weird change. And then the Spider-Man one, I don't know. It doesn't really feel like it was needed, but would have liked to see Moon Knight get that stupid freaking boop with his Ankh taken away. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other quarrels with anything else, but let's look at the team ups. So Chilling Assault, the Luna Snow, Iron Fist, Emma team up. The stage is expanding. We're boosting the operational range of this icy trio so they can freeze out the competition from further away. Increased ice out diamond spell field from 9 meters to 12 meters. Okay. Increased barrier placement distance to match the same radius. Okay. So it's just making the ice out just wider. And then it's going to allow Emma to place her barrier farther. So Iron Fist and Emma are just going to have a little bit more range on their moves, essentially, for their new stuff. And then we have a new team up in Primal Punishment, Devil Dinosaur and the Punisher, a prehistoric apex predator, and a vigilante with an arsenal. What could possibly go wrong? Frank Castle is saddling up for the ride of a lifetime. As the team up anchor, Devil Dinosaur gains 100 bonus health. So I wonder if he is base 700, and then this will just give him that 800, because he had 800 in the trailer, I do believe. So I think this is just going to give him 800. But if they ever remove this team up, then he would go down to 700. And then the Punisher, he unlocks the Ancient Judgment ability through his team up with Devil Dinosaur. So what that is that lets Punisher get on top of Devil Dinosaur and ride him around, kind of like similar to the Groot Jeff Rocket team up. Punisher can only use his two weapons, his shotgun and his assault rifle, and then he can use his smoke grenade while in that form, but he can't use his grappling hook and he can't use his turret. He does get damage reduction, and then all the damage that he has dealt is shared with Devil Dinosaur. So I'm actually a really big fan of this team up. I thought it was really cool. I really don't know how it's going to kind of shake things up in terms of like Punisher gameplay, because like I think in the trailer, like he took like 6 or 7 hits from Hela to kill. It might have been more, but I know it was pretty rough. Like it was like a lot of hits, and I was like, wow, like that's a lot of damage reduction. But on the other hand, he's like, sharing the damage with Devil Dinosaur, so they're both taking damage at the same time. So I'm curious to see how that team up is going to work, because it seems really interesting. But overall, I do really like these patch notes. This is some good stuff that I really wanted to see, and come on here and just talk about this real quick. So we're definitely gonna be hopping in the next couple of days, be playing some of this new season and just kind of testing everything out. So if you want to see some of that, feel free to come over to the either the Twitch at Texas_Toe0, or if you want to see the raw gameplay, just feel free to subscribe and go ahead and we'll be posting that whenever it comes out on Friday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until we meet again, deuces.
Ooh, this a hot shit, babe. You said that I've been hanging on to you. I don't play games cause I'm scared to lose. Baby, I tried to quit you. Now I feel like the smoke that you blew. Yeah, got my heart